All right, welcome back, boys and girls. It is the best time of the year, the best time ever. Let's put it up. Ballin'. Best time of the year, March Madness. Some of you it will be March Sadness because you will lose your bracket the very first day.
First hour.
That team we just watched lose. Do you remember that night? Because it broke my hope. I had Virginia winning.
Oh, was that Virginia?
They lost, and I was just like, that was the first time in my life I could ever watch one game
There,
and crumple it.
I don't remember who won, who beat them, but I remember I was working promotions with the Sid Rosenberg show at the Tootsies for QAM for 560. They were doing their March Madness like special in the sports bar in the back area with all the TVs and the pool tables. And before we walked in, we all did our bracket and we sent it in. And I picked Louisville to win the national championship. And it was the first game of the day, and they lost. My whole bracket done within the first hour of the tournament starting.
What a terrible feeling. Not good. So UMBC is out, and we don't have to worry about UMBC blowing anyone's bracket up like they were going to do that again. Maybe Howard will take down Michigan. Put it down.
Juwan Howard.
That's what. I didn't even think about.
Oh, that little thing. You know what?
There's a like some
31.5 is seeming like a lot of points now.
Biggest connection there all of a sudden. This game. Welcome
now
back.
The tuxedos look weird.
Right, exactly. Welcome back to whoever watches this. I'm Derek. This is my boy Josh. He is my resident only person I trust in college basketball ever. At all, with gambling or watching or anything. And we are here to deliver a game-by-game breakdown what we think is going to happen. We will go over some of our best bets at the end and just kind of talk shop because why not, man? This is the best thing that happens year in and year out. And you know what? Funny, real quick, like I didn't feel as good about this college basketball season as I have in seasons past about the parity. I thought there were more teams that could win the championship last year than I do this year. But after watching the conference tournaments play out, I'm not sure again. Which kind of leads me to how do you feel real quick about the conference tournament kind of determining or not determining who makes the tournament?
I think a lot of teams got exposed as to the season just being, it's a long season for some of these teams. And some of these teams that looked like they were unstoppable to start the season and kind of looked unstoppable in the middle of the season started to look like they got some flaws. And it takes a conference team that sees you multiple times a year to kind of bring that out of you. Now we're getting the non-conference, and you always see, like, I think it was the UConn a few years ago where they were unbelievable in non-conference, slipped up a bunch of times in the conference, and then won the national championship because they're going against the non-conference teams again. It's a lot easier to hide your flaws against teams that don't see you, teams that are not used to seeing you. They don't study you as much, especially you're going to get 3 games. If you're going to win the national championship, 3 of those games are going to be within 1 day of preparation for that opponent. So that's on both sides. Like if you get an upset, all right, this is a team we don't talk about a lot. We don't see a lot. No common opponents. It's going to be a difficult preview for them and to see what we can do to study, to prepare, and all that. I think that there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to surprise this year in the tournament early. I do think that the big dogs are going to come out at the end because they're just the top 5 or 6, maybe even 7 teams are just that much better than everybody else. And they're kind of just like, let's get to the tournament already.
I feel that way about a lot of what I saw in the conference tournaments. I felt the same way we were saying. That's what I'm saying. Last year, I felt like there were more teams that were in it, and I think we're just going to see as it comes down to it, it's going to get real chalky at the end. Yeah. And that's okay, though, too, for the sport, because don't you want to watch the best teams play?
Absolutely. I want to watch. I mean, we've always talked about this for so long. It was like, oh, man, can't wait for the upsets. I love the upsets. And then we get to the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, and like, these aren't the matchups I wanted to see. Like these, like when we first saw the bracket, we wanted to see, that team gets that team, but no, that team got beaten the first day. So we're not going to see that matchup. I would rather see the big programs play each other, getting close, the better teams getting close. I think the NIL is a huge factor in that because these smaller schools aren't getting those premier players for 2 years. They're only getting them for 1 year, and then they're going to a top school.
Right, you're getting poached right away. And
poached right away. Florida has found, I mean, I'm a Gator fan, but Todd Golden has found something within this NIL and something that, I mean, it's not a lot of money, but we're getting these transfers that are kind of creating momentum on their own instead of trying to get these freshmen to learn the system. Arkansas still doing that. Duke's still doing that because they're getting the top tier. But for these schools that want to, the Floridas, the Texas Techs, the Arkansas, Arkansas with Calipari, but these teams that want to compete right away, they're getting the transfers, and that's what's making these big time programs move further and further into the tournament without worrying about an upset from an FIU or an FAU or FGCU or UMBC, like any of those small schools. It's going to be a lot harder for them to make those big upsets.
Yeah, it's normally, like, you get 2 12-5s, right?
Yeah.
And you get a match up there. And I'm not saying that it can't happen, because that is the beauty of the tournament, is anyone could beat anyone on any day. It's just, your shots going in. These are kids, remember. But I think, like, after that first initial wave, like you were saying, like, you're not going to get a team like FAU who wins the first game and then wins 3 more games in a row after that. Like, maybe someone surprises someone in the first game, but I don't think they win and go into the weekend, come out of the weekend unscathed. I don't think we're going to see a lot of, like, higher seeds playing next Thursday or Friday.
No, I mean, we might see 1 or 2.
Right.
But we're not going to see any of them that have, like, a legit chance of getting to the Final Four.
Right. We've been seeing, like, 3-4 teams make it to the second week, playing.
I mean, how many times did we get to the second round? There was like a 13-14 matchup, or
like, what are you talking about here? And then those programs are gone the next year. After that, like you were saying. So, shout out to McNeese for making their way back after.
I mean, their whole roster left.
Their whole team left, and they lost the boombox guy, and now
he's back. He's back.
I saw that, but I was saying for the season, because he get NIL money, which is crazy.
He became a star, man. Like the tournament, not just for the players. You can be a manager or something like that and become a star in this tournament.
I didn't know if that was
cameras on you.
I didn't know if that was the reason that people were or they were winning or not, had anything to do with that guy. But I wanted to almost believe that it was true.
It's a good luck charm, man.
For some point, that kid was, like, out there doing his thing. So
I mean, we can't not make the tournament this year. We got to give him some more camera time.
Right. That's very, very true. Very, very true. All right. So, yeah, we're excited. My next question I was going to ask before we moved on to the next part here was going to be, how did we feel about the piggybacking off the conference tournaments? Did you learn anything about any team that you weren't sure about that makes you feel like, okay, this is a better team now than maybe what I thought, or maybe they're not as good as I thought?
I thought that I thought Iowa got better. I thought Iowa was a team that new coach, new players coming into the system. The coaches had a lot of success. They were kind of like, it was a fun team to watch in the beginning, but then they got into conference play and they just got crushed. But to make their way back, get better and better. I noticed that in the tournament. Wisconsin, I didn't realize how good that backcourt was. And for those guys, I saw, I watched a little bit of I watched a lot of Big Ten, but then I watched a lot of Wisconsin. But they just have some big time wins this year, and those guys came through for them. Vandy getting back to who they were before Boo got hurt, and becoming, like, that offensive juggernaut that they were in the beginning in the non-conference. They started undefeated. They had a big game against Florida at the beginning of the year. Florida beat them in a close game, and then we kind of just stopped looking at Vanderbilt like, oh wow, no, they got crushed by Florida. That's what happened. Now this is a team that kind of fought their way back and is like, we're a good team, and we're going to show ourselves in the tournament. And then those teams in the non-conference and coming into the tournament are going to be a lot very well. I thought the Big Ten kind of showed up, the Big 12 showed up, and the SEC showed up a lot. The Big East you kind of just noticed it's just a two-dog fight. And it really depends where they play for those two teams and how they beat each other.
Very true.
And then there's a couple other things with the smaller schools I noticed, but nothing that comes to my mind, on the top of my head, that I can think of real fast.
How do you feel about Miami of Ohio not getting into the tournament necessarily?
I don't think they should have gotten to the tournament right away. I'd say that because if you look at their schedule, they haven't played anybody. They have 0 top games played this year. I forgot the phrase for it. Tier 1 wins and
quad one.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, they have 0 quad 1 even matchups, let alone wins, and they went undefeated, which is you deserve to be in the tournament no matter what, going undefeated. But if there's a chance for you to get into this like play-in game, I don't have a problem with that. I would like to see them. I think they're going to win tomorrow night, just to, to get ahead of ourselves. I do think they win, but I would like to see them play against some top tier opponents, some top tier competition, instead of their conference. I wasn't really impressed by them watching them play a lot this year. I thought that towards the end of the season they were kind of like slowing down a lot.
They were very cardiac, right? They didn't play.
Yeah.
It wasn't a heart-pounding game at the end of the game, and so I feel like they could have lost 3 or 4 times.
They've had a few of those in the end of the season where it's like they had a huge comeback a couple games, and then it looks like they're about to lose. You just knew they were about to lose a game soon.
Their rival Ohio, they almost lost a number of times. So it was. I agree. I don't think that they should have made it just because they were ranked going into the conference tournament. That's kind of what I wanted to figure out is, apart from did you learn anything, is like, do you think that system is very fair? You can get on a hot 4-day run and erase everything you did for games.
I've always thought that the regular season champ should be the automatic bid. Because what's the point of playing the regular season? You're playing 30 plus games to determine who's the best in the conference. Then you get to the conference, you have a great record, you have good players, and in a 1-game situation, it just doesn't happen for you that night, and you lose to the last place team in your conference, who becomes a Cinderella and goes to the tournament and loses in the first round.
You got 14 teams with 13 and 14 wins making the tournament. Being there, beating a team with like 23 wins. It's just, it happens too.
And then I do like, they used to have this in college basketball where they had that bubble week, where they would just put a lot of the teams they thought were going to be bubble related, some of the smaller schools that had really good teams, and they would just kind of like round robin, let them play each other, and like a 1 week to expand, and then they would have these on their record, on their resume, going into the tournament talk.
It would be like a tournament before the tournament.
It was kind of like a play-in, like not necessarily to win a championship, but to like gain some wins on their resume, to showcase their schools and showcase their players in a way. I thought that was a great idea. I think we should still do something like that in college basketball to kind of separate who is really good and who's not. The question in Miami, Ohio wouldn't be right now if we had something like that. They would play against a VCU or another smaller, like a USF or any type of schools like that. They would play against those teams and have like, they did play that team and they won, or they lost by 2, but then we would give them that benefit of the doubt that a lot of these other teams have. Yeah, but their point guard was hurt, or like he was suspended, or like, they just came off a huge loss. We don't say that to the smaller schools. It's either win or don't win. No excuses whatsoever.
And it wasn't like you're saying, playing them later in the season, it wouldn't be like, this happened 2 months ago, this is a different team now. This is like, how are you playing now when it's time for the tournament?
Yeah, and you look at Florida. Florida had started the season losing every big game that they had in front of them. And now that they've kind of played the way that they played this year, we look at the national team, people look at those games and say, they only lost by 3 against this team. They only lost by 2. Like, they're given the excuses of like, hey, those were good. You got to look at the context of what happened in that game rather than who won or lost. With those smaller schools, it's just about the W or the L. Like, we don't give them any context as what happened in that game.
Right.
So I think that if you put them in a kind of like a small, like these holiday tournaments, let them go into those tournaments and play the big dogs in the first rounds or the second rounds, and let them like sort each other out. But I'd say like when they do the ACC SEC challenge or all these different challenges, hey, let's have a week where it's like, let's put these guys against each other. Like let's come up with a type of schedule where it's open dates for them later in the season, and then we see who's kind of contending to get tournament spots and kind of give them a little small round robin showcase. I think that would be a great idea.
I think that's a great idea too. It's a way to get some good games again, because you like, I'm not saying take away some conference games, but it kind of gets redundant. What if you just played everybody once in your conference? What if that happened? Those
The
small
conferences, some of these conferences, they play each other twice. They play each other once. They play like there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like, and
we
in
look
the big time schools, they don't play each other all the time.
right when we're looking for like commonalities betting wise. That happens all the time for us. We're looking and we're like, oh, they only played them one time. It was in January. We're looking at a game at the end of February. It's 6 weeks ago. You're
Two
totally different.
completely different teams.
I don't know who you are anymore, and that's all I have to go off of. Is That's kind of crazy. So, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I think the conference tournaments are a cool way to get some extra games for us, but should they make any difference in who makes it? No,
I don't
but
think they should get away with it because I love it. It's one of my favorite weeks. It's besides this weekend coming up, championship week is by far the most fun full. I mean, every day you got 12, 13, 15 games.
right. It does. It is a good ramp up to the tournament.
It's awesome for college basketball fans to have that, for us nerds to be like, hey man, we got games all day. Like,
And
I got to do a conference out in Miami or out in Houston, but I can at least I can follow the game on my computer or my phone. We have something to do as basketball fans. Plus, as bettors, we got a lot of stuff to bet on. We got unders, we got lines, we got teams, we got, oh shit, look at this. It helps us out knowing these teams in the tournament. Wow, this team is like kind of like slowing down right now, or they're picking it up, they're playing it good at the right moment. It gives us more information.
That's what I was going to say off the bigger conference tournaments is you get to see them again play the better teams again.
Yeah, St. John's UConn championship game.
Right.
Wanting to see that.
That game that really, and it doesn't mean anything for the NCAA tournament, but it is a warm-up game against a team that you know they want to beat, and you get to see, like, where are you at? And that's cool to say, like, hey, like, do you feel better about Purdue now than you probably did 2 weeks ago? Of course. That's what.
If they would have lost like in the round before, I probably would feel like, wow, this team is just another year.
Another year, Purdue's gonna they lose to.
Now I'm like, wow, they've been hot. They haven't lost in a while, so it's a different story with Purdue. You gotta get that mindset with these guys.
They're not gonna play Fairleigh Dickinson and get beat this time. You know what I mean?
Florida loses to Vanderbilt. Now everyone's talking about, oh wow, is this the team that can't make a three in the first week of the year? Like, all of a sudden, the worst talk comes out about teams. Like, you just know this is the same team because this is the same team that's been beating teams by 20 points, or we don't know anymore. So it's like all of a sudden that question's in the air.
One game, it kind of created that.
Changes everything. Vandy's got all the momentum in the world.
Yep.
Even though they lost to Arkansas, it doesn't matter. They beat Florida.
People are putting Vandy into the championship game because of that game. It's like, what are you guys? It gets
and then you put them in the bracket that way, and Vandy just sees Florida. Florida sees Vandy.
Yep.
And it just kind of gets in their head, and you just don't know how they're going to react to that. Like, because you've got 2 games coming up before that even takes place.
And you need to look at that and be like, can I get there? Or you're already playing yourself there. And if you're Vandy, you might win the first weekend, but then, you're looking at a Saturday or Sunday matchup or Saturday matchup, and you're like, this isn't as easy as this first game was. So
I love the questions in the air. I love the talk. I love all of it. I can't wait for noon on Thursday. We were going through the schedule before, and I was getting giddy. Halfway through, I was just like, oh my God, we're going through the schedule right now.
I'm picturing just watching it and enjoying it and being like, this is exactly what I love and what I waited for 11 months.
It's the best event in sports.
It's like a sickness. So I love the Masters. I talk about this every time. So the Masters comes on right when this tournament is over. So for me, this is easily the best month of sports that exists. And then you go into NBA playoffs,
NBA playoffs.
And then we get the World Cup right after that this year.
Yeah, NHL playoffs.
Instead of having boring summer baseball in July that doesn't really mean much, we get the World Cup, and then it's football again. And then baseball start, and you're like, oh, this year is, So
it's great.
I'm hoping we get a good tournament, a competitive one where, it's not just the chalk at the end, but I think as we go through this here, I think we're going to try to
I think
figure out.
it's gonna be very chalky. It's gonna be quite chalky going to the end, but I think it's gonna be a good thing. I think it's gonna lead. I mean, this has been such a great season with matchups. I don't remember that one night that we had two top four teams playing each other, and like you don't get that. Duke, Michigan, and then it was like I think it was like Arizona, Kansas, or Arizona, Iowa State, one of those, and you just don't get that.
Yeah, it was Arizona, Iowa State.
So to see that and then like, hey, I want to see another one of those. I want to see another 2 versus 3 or 1 versus 4 or, give me those chalky teams. I want to see big matchups.
Well, so do I, because you get big players, you get big coaches. The game,
I want the hype. I want the momentum. I want the guy. I can't wait for this game. Not like, ooh, can this team do it? No, I want to see these two big dogs go against each other.
So do I, and it's hard when you're filling out your bracket. And just for anybody who hasn't filled it out that'll watch this before Thursday, take that and with a grain of salt. Like, you get to the end of it and you start looking at a lot of 1s, 2s, 1s, 3s in your bracket. Don't feel weird about that. That's probably more times than not. That's how this thing's going to
play. Are you trying to win your bracket, or you just want to be different?
Yeah, right, exactly. My dad, to piggyback off of real quick, he does that ESPN contest, and he always ends up picking like a 3 or a 4 seed to win the championship because he's like, you're going to get in the bottom 2% of people that way, and that's the only way you're going to win is to get there. But does he ever win? No, because that doesn't happen.
No.
I
think it's the little games in the beginning that should determine who wins, because you should all have the same teams towards the end.
From the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8, that pivot is
and then when you get to the Elite 8 to the Final Four, that's where the separation takes place.
Right.
Because those Elite 8 games is where, like, I have this team, you have that team.
Right.
That's when the competition really comes out at the end.
That is very true. All right, let's dive in. We love basketball. We understand that now.
I love basketball.
We're just talking to us for 5 seconds here. You can tell this is the greatest thing that's ever existed. So
I'm hyped, man. I can't wait.
Me too. So
the loudest I've talked in a year.
That's how it feels, So here we are. We're gonna get ourselves to Thursday, and Thursday at 12:15. What a lovely, lovely time that is. I think we get, and these matchups are always good, but I think that this is one of the premier day one matchups as far as like a game I expect to be super duper competitive. And 9 against 8 should be no surprise there, but. Josh, what do you like in this game to start off with?
I just love these two very, very close to each other opponents, two different types styles of play. I'm going for TCU here. I've watched them a lot more this year. I think the Big 12 was a lot better than the Big 10, and I think that these two teams are kind of like the same, like ranking wise in those conferences, but TCU's competition has been a lot more like preparing them for this type of game, and I've seen them play personally against Florida and against some other teams, and they just do not go away. They hit big shot after big shot. They their head coach, I forgot his name right now, but he used to be the Pittsburgh coach, just intense guy, defensive mentality, but they play some offense. They can really shoot the ball. Jamie Dixon. And then they can shoot the ball, man. But they have that defensive mentality where they can come back in a game and they can get some steals, they can get some breakdowns, they can stop you in the possession after possession, but they can really score too. And I think that's going to be the difference maker. I don't think Ohio State focuses too much on Thornton to save them in these moments. I think that TCU can come out with a game plan to limit him. They're not going to stop him. They're going to limit him. And with that, I think TCU's team is going to come through at the end.
Okay. I mean, I'm on the other side on this game just from a betting perspective. I'm going to take Ohio State, which means obviously I think Ohio State is going to win the game. And I do think it's Thornton because I think he's the closer out of the two, and I do expect this to be a one-possession game down the stretch. Would I be surprised if TCU starts out ahead? Not at all. So I might even look at a first half thing. I think they just have a more potent offense, in my opinion. I was telling you before we started, more weapons is what I think TCU possesses, and I think Ohio State wants to muck up the game a little bit more than stats would even lead you to believe. I think that They want to play. They've progressed as a better 3-point shooting team as the season has gone on than they were to start the season, Ohio State. So their offense has come along later in the year, but they're a defensive team. And I think if TCU runs cold for a couple of minutes, which we talked about, I don't know that they will because they have so many options. I think Ohio State could be there, but I don't actually know if I'm going to get to putting down an actual wager on this game. It's hard not to. It's the first game, right? So you're like, I got to have something here to root for, right?
That's going to be a lot of restraint to not bet the first game of the day.
Game is just going to be so tight. Like, I would not be surprised that we get some sort of like buzzer beater game one. From a game like this. I think these teams are very closely matched. TCU plays fast.
Yeah.
They play a more chaotic style to me, and Ohio State has a more tournament style to me where you slow down the tempo when the game gets late and you're going to just be looking for Thornton to score. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying is if TCU can start fast, then they just need to dial in on Thornton because I don't see anyone. I don't see a number 2 or 3 coming out of that team scoring.
Yeah, it's second chance. I'm looking at some stats here. They're a great offensive rebounding team, TCU. So if their shots aren't coming in, that's
where they got Florida.
Right.
I mean, they just for that front court to get out rebounded in that quick span of time by TCU that impressed me a lot. I just still remember that. Yeah,
it's just I think if that happens, I think Ohio State loses 8 or 10 points. I think it's a really bad game if TCU is just cleaning glass all night because again, they have multiple guys. Punch is a great player, but they have multiple guys. I like I was telling you, I watched them play the other day, and I was really impressed by the amount of guys that they had that I thought could score. Now they were playing Oklahoma State, who let me and you score 15 points against them, but. And Ohio State is a much better defense, but I think that TCU started to find themselves for a second time this season towards the end of the year a little bit more. Ohio State did play Michigan tough in the conference tournament, so they did that first half of that game was very, very close. And Michigan, I think, is probably the second best team in the country, and Ohio State was there. Now, that rivalry is not the same as football, but they looked like a good team there. They looked complete to me. So I expect this game to almost be a coin toss. So I'm not mad at you thinking TCU is going to win this game.
I think TCU is going to win this game. I'll tell you what. It is such a close game. I just like TCU a lot, but I'm looking at that 146 total is a lot.
I think you could be onto something with that too. There, I don't love Ohio State if they're playing a close game, it being high scoring at all.
No, I think they're going to try to slow the pace down. TCU is going to follow along and go with that type of strategy, and I just hope their rebounding comes through at the end. And I think that TCU is going to try to get the ball a lot. They're going to try to steal it. They're going to try to get some turnovers, and then with those turnovers, can they get transition baskets a lot? I don't know. They might steal it just to get the possession and then kind of try to get some good possessions going because that's the tournament mindset.
Right. You get the nerves settle in.
Plus, it's the first game of the day. First games of the day are always unders.
Right. That's very true. We talk about that all the time. That's, and that's a high total here. You're presuming with this spread here, what's 74, 72, 71, something like that. 75, 72 hits the over. I don't know that we get both teams in the 70s in this game. And especially if you think TCU is going to win, I think TCU is going to do the heavy lifting in the scoring department of this game. I don't expect. If it is a close game, I like Ohio State, which is what I'm saying. I do think it's going to be close, but I think if TCU gets out to a far enough lead, Ohio State doesn't have the horses, like you said, outside of Thornton, to come back in that game. They have improved 3-point shooting. But if you just start chucking up threes out of desperation, that's not their game.
No, because they're not going to get those rebounds.
Right, that's what I mean. And then TCU, and especially an under favors an offensive rebounding team. Ask Texas A&M. That's the kind of stuff that they like to do. You rebound the ball. You all of a sudden a 25-second possession turns into a 45-second possession, And if you don't score there, then we've gone a whole minute with one team having the ball and nobody scoring, which is great for an under.
And
so
TCU is going to try all they can to get the ball out of Thornton's hands, and if keeping
right.
the ball in possession is what does it, then that's going to be what does it.
Like if you start blitzing him, he's not. They don't have a bunch of dudes that are going to go get layups all over you. You know what I mean? So I'm with that 146.5. I like that number too. So Josh is on a TCU. Just victory wise, you like them plus the 2.5 points. Obviously, then
I like them 2.5, but that under is kind of climbing the ladder on me right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. I'm going to write that one down when we're done here because I like that one. I didn't look at that one as strong, but now that we're talking about it, I like that.
I mean, just talking this game out, and I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of points.
Yeah, it is a lot of points. And then shortly after that, we have game 2.
Opposite of a little points.
Opposite of the point. Depends on how this team shoots. We're going to move over here to the South region. You got the men of Troy taking on the Nebraska up and down Cornhuskers who can't decide if they're good or not good from week to week. Troy is a team I think as a double-digit underdog is very, very dangerous. That's my opinion. That's a lot of points for 2 high-scoring teams to me, but because they defend the three-pointer pretty well. That's Troy's kind of bread and butter on defense anyway, and we all know Nebraska just wants to shoot three-pointers to death. That's how they're going to score.
That's all they do.
That's so. In this game, what are you looking at between these two teams?
Personally, I'm not going to bet it. I really haven't seen a lot of Troy.
No.
Nebraska wasn't really impressed with this year. I thought that they were kind of like, I think the Big Ten was a little overrated at the top. And Nebraska was kind of like teetering that top of the line every game, and every time they played. And I think they only won their big games at home. They didn't really win any ones on the away. They've never won a tournament game in their life. As a history of a program, the University of Nebraska has never won a tournament game. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. You got Nebraska laying 13 points to Troy. Troy defensively shuts down exactly what Nebraska wants to do. So if we're arriving at a point in this game quickly, because this isn't as good a matchup as the one we just talked about, you have a defensive team against a team that wants to shoot the three-pointer, and the team that plays defense only because they're obviously these smaller schools are just mismatched on the glass. They have no chance. They're all, their starting centers are like 6'8" on most of these schools. So you're going to get beat up on the glass, but if you can defend the three-pointer well, I think that's a lot of points. The total's at 137.5.
Yeah.
If you're telling me that the total is suggesting that one of these teams scores 75 and one scores 63, and that's where we're getting to this over. I don't expect Nebraska to score 75 points unless they're just making all their threes, and then they're going to score 90 points, and they're going to blow this team out of the water. So if the total is suggested that number, you have to side with Troy. That's too many points if you think that this number is going to hit.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Nebraska, I think, wins the game by... I would say this number is probably pretty sharp, and that's why I'm arriving at where you are, where I don't think I'm going to do anything with this one. But I think Nebraska advances. I don't think it's going to be impressive by any means. I think Troy is going to give them a fight that they probably don't want to have to try to get their first ever victory.
Both teams have never won a tournament game in the histories of their program.
Got to win this game.
Someone's gonna get a 1.
Someone's going to get a number 1 next to their team for winning a game.
I think the edge would be Nebraska's defense and the fact that Troy is just a horrendous free throw shooting team.
They are horrendous.
But are you making free throws?
Are you fouling at the end of the game for Nebraska?
No, but I think that throughout the game they're going to get to the line and they're just not going to make those free throws, and the score is just going to continuously grow and grow and grow.
So the numbers you need when you're down 15 to kind of get it back inside the number, they're just not going to be able to make those, the front end of the 1-on-1s that they and it just causes an extra possession for Nebraska.
And for Nebraska, if Troy's even attempting to make a run, or in a 2 possession scoring run, or getting 3 possessions in there, I think Nebraska. I wouldn't put it past Fred Borgenberg to be like, hey, let's just foul him a couple of times, get him to the line, and see if they make those.
Right,
Change up the momentum of the game.
I don't hate that if you just kind of slow that game up a little bit and just say,
changes
hey,
the pace up, changes it kind of slows the game down. And Nebraska wants to slow the game down with their defense and just hit threes.
I agree. I think Nebraska. It's very telling. I don't know that Nebraska separates in this game, but I assume that they probably do enough.
I think very late, like at the end of the game. Like you're not going to be if you take Nebraska with the
you're not.
It's not going to be a fun game to watch.
No, that's what I agree with that 100%. But we definitely agree that Nebraska goes through. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. They go through, but I think it's a tight game that it wouldn't be worth that kind of sweat unless you just want to feel something before 1 o'clock on a Thursday.
Yeah. I think you're getting enough sweat with that first game.
That's what I 100% agree that I can argue that I think that first game might be the best game of Thursday unless we see some wild upset here, which we can get to here in this very next game. Here, I don't know if you feel the same way I do, but we'll go on to the next game here. We got the South Florida Bulls that are not in South Florida versus Louisville Cardinals. My pops went to Louisville. I've been conditioned a lot of my life to care about what they do in sports. They're an ACC foe of mine. I am a Seminole, but they have been Jekyll and Hyde. As of late, and South Florida is an offensive machine. Both of these teams are really just great offensive teams. The total's set at 165.5 in this game. And I don't see a reason, like Josh was just, I don't see a reason why this game doesn't get to 170 or maybe even more, unless there's just some nerves that take over in this game at some point, and it's got to be from the South Florida side where they just don't see shots going in and they lose confidence somehow. Because I think Louisville can probably score 85 points, and is South Florida going to come along for the ride or not is kind of what my thought is. Shocker, I have in a couple brackets I filled out, I have South Florida winning this game because I do think that they score enough points, and I don't think that Louisville cares about trying to stop them. I think they try to keep up with them, which to your point goes to the total going over 165.5. What do you think?
I actually saw Louisville in person. They are an impressive team. They can really score. They got some guys. They love getting up and down the court. They had a battle with Miami a few weeks ago in Miami. Last game of the regular season, I believe. And they got them the first game of the tournament. They played Miami twice. They beat them by 1 or 2 points at home at Miami. Then they lost to Miami in the tournament game. But without Mikal Brown, I don't know how far Louisville can go. It's a tough matchup for them against South Florida. South Florida is a conference champion. They got a lot of momentum on their end. They can score, but they can really defend as well. And I think that I want to go Louisville in this because I think that if push comes to shove, they're a more talented, athletic team. But I do think that there's a lot of things going on South Florida's way right now, and I think that they pull through. And I don't know if I'll take the money line, but I think I would take the 5.5.
Yeah, the 5.5. I'm looking at it right now. It's juiced minus 115, so nothing crazy. But the points the total hasn't moved at all. It's actually juiced
a lot.
Yeah, and it's
for
juiced.
An early game. It's a lot of points to take. I think that if this was like a 4 o'clock in the afternoon game, it goes to 180.
Yeah.
Early in the day, it's just so tough that you got so much press, so much things that you're not used to doing, and then getting ready for the tournament game, and then you're playing not in a normal college gym or anything like that.
An 85-80 game, and you're still going under at that score.
You're still going under. So I don't know if I would go with that total. I might live up the game, but
If I'm not wrong, I don't have the number right here, but I think USF averages 89 points a game.
Mm.
But they give up 70. They have a good point margin.
They got a good defense.
That's what I mean, and it's like I'm kind of stunned because the talent that they're playing against in their conference is not the ACC. This is a down ACC year, but it's not the same. So are they going to go in against an ACC team? And let's be real, like Louisville could stop you from scoring. They're
Oh,
not good at
absolutely.
it. They're not good at it, but
They
um,
got a big that can hit threes. They got a couple guards that can hit. They got a lot of players on the team that can hit some threes,
I'm just
especially
in.
big
I
time
think South
shots.
Florida is like third in what's the it's not pace because pace is how quickly you're moving the ball up the court. In shot frequency, I think they take the second most field goals I think in the country or something like that. They shoot the ball an inordinate amount of time, so they're trying to get into quick shots. If you're USF,
Of all
um,
the tournament teams, they have the second highest um, tempo per
that's
40 minutes.
that's what I was looking for. Not pace, tempo. That's
Yeah.
I knew that off the top of my head because I looked at them when I first saw this come out, and I was like, this is a mismatch because Mikael Brown. And right away, I was like, Louisville. I don't know if Louisville can. I haven't seen enough from them to say that like they're playing solid enough to beat a team that can score like this.
Oh.
I could see them giving up 80 points, let's just say, and them scoring 75. And not being able to beat a USF team. But then in my brain, I'm like, okay, USF doesn't play enough defense either to stop Louisville. What's really going to happen in this game? This is an interesting one.
It's interesting. I would say I'm trying to compare South Florida with Miami because the last two games of Louisville season has been against Miami. So
Okay.
so they went against Miami at Miami, then they went against Miami again in the tournament. So that's the only opponent they've seen in the last 2 weeks. And now they're preparing for a team that they've never seen before, and they're gonna try to find some similarities into how the style of play they just got through with Miami. But South Florida is a different team. They got some dudes on that team, and they got some dudes that have played for some Power Five teams on that team that transferred in. So I don't think that their team is going to be. I think the team is going to be looking forward to this matchup. They're going to be up for this game. It's Louisville trying to figure out who they are without Mikael Brown, and have they gone through enough games to get that identity? And
Out
what
are they
exactly is
figuring?
that identity? Like, are they just going to be a run and gun team? They haven't been playing a lot of defense lately.
Right. I think the defensive metrics for the season kind of get thrown out now that you're on like what I'm saying is you're them and you're kind of like just trying to figure it out on the fly like you're talking about like you don't actually know. I mean, maybe so you've had a week to figure out your game plan, but
Yeah,
you've only had
a couple
a
days.
you've had 2 days at this point to figure out who it was against, and now you're playing a team that scores a ton of points. And you have to look back, like you said, into games against teams that you've played that have played the same similar style, not same players, obviously, and say, hey, how did we do in that game? What did we do well? What didn't we do? Do we try to get into a fight like that where we're just running up and down with a team that's been doing this all year? Or do we try to muck up the game a little bit? And so I, I didn't think that this was an under, but now I'm looking at it and maybe it's an
It's
under.
it's got to be an under. It's got to be an under.
Conference tournament game. Okay, well, NCAA tournament games by average over the years that they've gone back and looked at the metrics, they're inflated by 6 to 8 points on average from what the regular season pace is. And we have to understand that the bright lights of the tournament and one game in your season is over. Now, do either one of these teams have an aspiration of a natty? Probably not.
No.
They have to be realistic with themselves. They're probably not going to run the gamut. Does every kid start to believe when you win a couple games? Sure. But in this very first game, you just go out there and stick to what you do well, right? And both of these teams can score the ball. So did they just run out there and score? But then you get on to the bright lights come on and you realize if we lose, our season is over. And does that shrink you a little bit?
Yeah.
And I think that they're setting this total maybe around a regular season game here at like Madison Square Garden where you're just going to go get these teams to just go run and gun it up and down the court. And this maybe that doesn't happen. So the more I'm talking myself into it, um, You got tight rotation here, especially for Louisville. They're going to tighten up their rotation a lot to what works now because they're revamping themselves. And, this is why I think USF could win the game, is because I think that they just get to play their game still, regardless. And Louisville's the team that has to try to figure themselves out quickly.
Louisville's got to figure themselves out. They do have some players on that team that that were very impressive towards the crunch time.
Yeah.
They got Cronwell, who's coming in before to score for them without Michael Brown out, and they had this one kid. I don't know if he's any relation.
Kid from
McNeely. Any relation to the kid that was at UConn?
I don't know.
Because he was playing like him. And towards the end of that Miami, I went to the game against Miami a couple weeks ago. It was last Saturday of the regular season, and towards the end, Louisville ended up winning a very 1 or 2 point game in the end. And McNeely was their go-to guy. McNeely was the guy getting to the basket. He was hitting the shots. He was becoming their guy at the end of the game that they can look to get that basket, to get to the free throw line. He has no fear in him, but he's just started becoming this role now. It's when it comes down to these games, you need that guy that's already ready to go. Is he ready for this spotlight to get into this game? I think USF has a guy or two like that have been there before. The other team, they got the kid that was at Florida a couple years ago. That was very freshman, too young, but now he's going through his whole season. Trying to get his name right now. But they have Wes Enos, who's their star player. They got 3 guys that are almost at 15 points a game. They shoot 74%, 75% at the free throw line. I'm starting to like USF more talking into it. I do think, not because these teams can't get over that number, but because when it comes to the tournament, this time, this early in the day, the unders are always kind of have a more substantial kind of meaning to it in the early games, because it's the first games of the day. These teams aren't ready to get going. They're just getting through their shoot arounds and blah blah blah. These 2 teams like to score. I'm liking that under a lot, but I think I'm gonna bet South Florida 5.5.
I think the USF plus 5.5 is the number I'm probably on to now, just knowing that could I see this being a 1 or 2 possession game?
Yes.
Sure. See a 3 possession game, probably not at the end here. Although these teams will, in a game with a spread like that, because again, it's the same as being a -3 in the NFL. There are reasons to try to extend this game here at the end in ways you can do it, and free throws are going to be one of them. And USF is not just going to let Louisville win the game by 5. They're going to foul them, spread. So we have to count on some of these 19 and 20-year-olds to not be able to shoot some free throws maybe at the end of this game. But I think I might look at USF on the money line anyway if it's a number, because I do think they've shown me enough in the games that I've watched this year that I think that they can score enough points to win this game, and I don't think Louisville does anything particularly well enough to stop them from scoring those points. So I think we're both on the right side. I might just get a little riskier with it than you do.
Yeah.
And I think the under is in play too. Now the more that
it's in play,
I definitely do. It's one of the highest totals, if not the highest total on the board that I saw. You're going to have Queens and Purdue, but maybe that's not as high.
I see a lot of 160s.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm
169. I see a 169 on one game.
The next game we're going to talk about here has got an extremely high point total, and I think that favors one of the other teams. But let's go on to the next one. Mowing right on through. Those boys from High Point who got their first tournament taste last year, very first tournament game last year. They're back again, and they're taking on the Badges. You like Wisconsin. You like Wisconsin because they started to get hot at the right time for you. You started to figure it out. The point total in this game, okay, Wisconsin by 10. Okay, I can see that. 164.5 when Wisconsin plays defense doesn't make me feel so good about the Wisconsin side, because if you know anything about High Point, all they want to do is score.
Yeah.
So if a game that's going to have that many points and only a 10-point spread, you're telling me High Point's going to get theirs, but Wisconsin's going to get more. And I don't know if Wisconsin wants to play that style of game. But what do you think here?
I don't like betting Wisconsin when they're the favorite. I like betting them when they're the underdog or when it's a very close game. To see them win by 10, I don't care who you're playing. I mean, that I was impressed with Wisconsin with that backcourt all tournament, Boyd and Blackwell. Like those guys can really get their points in the basket. Both of them averaging 20 points a game. And that Carrington kid hitting those threes at the end against Purdue was unbelievable. High Point just loves scoring. They love putting the ball in the basket. I think that's going to help them a lot. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout in any way. High Point's 9.5 is looking good. I do like High Point in the first half. I think that they're going to start up fast, and that'll help them out. I think it's High Point's got a plus 5.5 in the first half. I like that a lot. I think these two teams. I think Wisconsin's got a lot of momentum their way, but they're getting a lot of thinking a lot very high themselves.
Too much love, too much
love, and that backcourt is great at the end of games. I think that they let teams kind of hang around too much.
Yeah.
They've been playing some big competition. They had, I think they've beaten every big team in their conference. They've beaten Michigan. They've beaten Ohio State. They've beaten Purdue. They've beaten every team in the Big Ten that's got a chance to win a title or a chance at it. They've beaten them. And that's what makes me feel really good about Wisconsin when they're the underdog, when they're kind of no one really thinks that they got a chance. When they're the favorite, I don't think they're the same team. I don't think they have the same mentality. And that's why I think High Point can make this a game and make it interesting.
A little bit. They're just kind of thrown off by their style a little bit at the beginning of the game because it's a high-tempo team. High Point's going to want to get out there and run a little bit. And Wisconsin, like you said, they just went through a gauntlet in the conference tournament.
Yes.
They had some really tough games, and High Point doesn't play tough games all season. They just score so many points. It's kind of like Akron we'll get to, and Queens for me. These teams, most of their games are comfortable double-digit wins against just really bad teams anyway. Can they just go out there and play like they're just playing another bad team against Wisconsin? Maybe, but they're not going to they're not going to get interior scoring against Wisconsin. They're not going to rebound against Wisconsin.
No.
So, but if they're making their shots, I mean, we've seen this story time and time again where these mid-major Cinderella teams they got Golke or whoever that dude was 2 years ago. Lit Kentucky on fire. I mean, that could be anybody, that's out there. So I'm with that. I'm on the under as one of my best bets of the day. 160.5 I think is too high for me. I found almost the model I ran it through's got this game at 157. So I got 8 points of value on that line in my opinion. It still likes Wisconsin with the spread. The spread was 10.5. It's come down. Yeah. So you're getting some High Point money coming in, which makes sense. I think if this line moves to 8.5, you take Wisconsin because it's going to go too far that way, the other way. But I think right now, I don't see Wisconsin. I'm on you with the 5.5 in the first half with High Point. Yeah. I like that a lot, actually. I could see like a 36-32 at the half, something like that. Where Wisconsin is just kind of playing with their food a little bit, and High Point's hanging. I could see High Point leading at the half, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And Wisconsin figuring out in the second half, but it'll be because of their defense that I think that they figure out the game. I don't think that they, run away and score 90 points against High Point. I just don't.
No, I don't see it. I don't see that early in the day that with those two teams.
Offensive teams. Why would you ever do that if that's not your style of play? You're
and
the big
plus,
ball.
Yeah, Wisconsin is a half court. They score, but they score in the half court. They don't score in transition. They don't score in fast breaks. They score in the half court.
Longer possessions, which is good for an under. 164. Like if you're telling me these two games that we just talked about, USF and Louisville, and we like an under, and those two offensive teams, why 1 point less would we not like a High Point Wisconsin under?
These numbers are so high.
Which it worries me. It worries me, I didn't have the best conference tournament runs for these reasons. You said that you did, and I don't know if I'm talking you into these sides or if you feel
I'm not a conference. I think the conference. I think there's such a. a huge difference between the conference play, like the conference championship week, and what we're about to get into.
Yeah.
I think championship week, it's where we can either talk ourselves into wins or we can talk ourselves into losses because we've been watching these teams all year. So we kind of have an idea of who they are. We have an idea of who they're playing against. It helps in certain ways and it hurts in a lot of ways. I got hot with money lines of like I think that Wisconsin was very unappreciated during the championship week, and to look at their schedule, and they've beaten every team in the Big Ten. So you put them in a scenario where they're in the Big Ten tournament against these same teams that they've beaten. So they have some sort of like psychological factor above a Michigan. The Michigan looks at across the court and be like, hey, this team got us. Purdue looks across the court. This team got us. Ohio State, this team got us. Michigan State, this team got us. And I think Wisconsin, in a way, coming into those games as the underdog, gave them like a big chip on their shoulder to prove something more to these teams. They just ran into that's too many days, too many playing. Like they just got into you can't play these big Michigan State, Michigan, Purdue all in a row and then come out on top. And I mean, you did that, you're a Kemba Walker type of fame, and we expect these two backcourt guys to start putting on a show in the tournament, but they just came to it. So now they're going into a tournament style situation where they're playing against teams they haven't seen.
Right.
And it's going to be different for them.
I don't know if they do that.
Now they're the favorite.
That's what I mean. They're not.
Changes everything.
You go from the hunter to the hunted.
Oh my goodness, it changes. And are you ready for that? Are your guards ready for that? Are your bigs ready for that? Because this team, High Point, is going into the game with the whole national media and the college basketball heads talking about how that's the team that's being circled to get that upset win in the first round.
Right.
So Wisconsin, how are you going to deal with that? A lot of these years that team is talked about, built up, then they lose because that higher seeded team is just you forgot that team's good. Right. When it comes to Wisconsin, we're forgetting that they're good, but also they're about to enter the first round of tournament in a spot that they're not used to, being the favorite. And that changes a lot in the mentality. So I don't think this is the same type of situation every year where a team just goes on a run, gets into the tournament, and all of a sudden they have the momentum. I think that it's going to be very different for Wisconsin in this first round, and they need to buckle up because if they don't show up, the High Point is going to beat them.
That's what I feel the same exact way of what you just said. I think that if High Point isn't scared of the moment at all, Wisconsin's in for a dogfight in this game. And I wouldn't, like I said, I don't mind the number, but I'm too scared that High Point can keep this game closer than 10 points. Yes. That I feel a ton better that if Wisconsin is going to win this game and do it their way, that there aren't going to be 165 points scored.
No. And I think that's where Wisconsin comes in, where it's like, are you willing to lose this game playing with High Point? Or are you going to try to change up the game and try to slow it down and make High Point play half court? And in that case, that's a bit. That number is humongous. In that case, like it's
82 to 73.
And that's the under.
Let's say it's the under by 10 points.
I don't see that, and I don't see Wisconsin playing games like that.
You think it's like, what is it? It's 87 to no, it's 88 to 80. 88 to 79. They got to win by 10. Yeah, so no.
They got to cover just to get to the number.
Right. And they got to score close to 90 points. Are they just going to do that? Like, I don't.
Not at 1:30 in the afternoon, third game of the day. High seed. I think there's so many things that go into it that are just off the books.
Keep in mind, look at the region too.
Yeah, it's a tough region.
Both teams are traveling across the country, okay, to the West region. So what time of the day is it really? Because we're playing 1:50 Eastern time. It's 10:50 in the morning. Where are they playing? Do you even know?
Buffalo. Oh, no, they're in Buffalo. No. Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, it's 10:50 in the morning.
Portland, Oregon.
Their internal clock feels like High Point feels like it's 1:50 and it's 10. They had to get up at like 5 a.m. to get ready for the game.
I'm already betting it right now.
The under.
I'm getting the under right now.
It's going to go down to like 161 by the time this game plays. Watch.
I might have 3 plays for this game.
That's so fantastic. This is why we're doing this, guys. We're an hour into this video already, and this is exactly why. All right, let's go to the next one. This one is we'll quickly breeze by these games that are like this. We got Siena against Duke. I don't know if Duke even needs to get their frontline players off the bus for this game. Siena is they were not supposed to win their conference tournament. Okay, all year long. Fairfield was a better team than they were. Marist was a better team than they were. Quinnipiac was probably up there with them. Siena's got nothing for me to even. This game's 27.5 points is the spread. If I'm going to bet anything in this game, it's Duke first half minus like 14, whatever that is. I don't think Siena even scores 25 points in the first half. They're not an offensive team to start with. So if Duke just
No,
cares.
they're terrible.
If Duke cares about getting the game over early, I think they just get it over really early.
Yeah. I think that you're talking about a team fourth efficiency offensive Duke against Siena, who's 175th defensive efficiency. I think that Duke wins by 35. I might live bet this and wait for who the first 5 points, 6 points of the game scored, and then just take like if Siena scores like a quick 3 or 4, perfect. If Duke scores 5, I'll take them at minus 32 or 33.
We got a first half minus 17. Let's just call it at plus 100. I think Duke is probably up like 43-20 at the half, something like that. Like
I think that might be the exact score.
Siena's not going to be able to score against Duke. They're going to ratchet up pressure to where these kids are not even going to know what to do with the ball. Their length, their rebounding, it's all going to be such a big problem. There's no real reason to talk about this. It's a 3:00 game in the East region. Duke is going to be rested, ready to go, get off the end. And Siena is just going to be quivering at the name on the front of the jersey. This is blowout city.
Blowout city. And Boozer is he's ridiculous.
Boozer might get like 18 and 9 and just goes
so good. And he's so smart too. There was a play in that Virginia game where they won the game where he got that offensive rebound and he could have just went right back up and got another basket and put him up in another 2 points. He pulled it. He hesitated to shoot. He goes, "Oh yeah, wait a minute. I got the ball. There's less than time clock left. Let me pass it out." Like just a smart move. Very small move to make, but it was very smart and he's very impressive. And that Saar kid defensively is so impressive. And that team is going to destroy Siena.
I agree. We got Dukies moving on pretty easily. Next one we like here, McNeese and Vanderbilt. Vandy is a darling team out of the SEC right now, huh? They could do no wrong in this last week here. They whooped on your Gators.
Yep.
I love Tanner. I think he's like the
freshman.
I think he might. This is going to be controversial. He's with Acuff for me. Not as much of a bulldog type of player. You know what I mean? Where he looks like he's going to go bully grown men. But I think he plays with like a LaMelo Ball type of flash, where it's like you could tell the talent is there. He just looks like a 12-year-old kid, but he makes basketball look really, really easy for me. And now they got Miles back in the backcourt with him.
Miles changes everything for them.
They're extremely, extremely healthy in the backcourt. You get those two guys together, I think that they're going to be a load. Now, McNeese, flip side, got to get out and run. Great athletes. Not really a great three-point shooting team totally. They score in bunches when they get turnovers. Their defense is suffocating. They play a 2-3 three-quarter court press a lot of times, so they try to slow down the inbound. Vanderbilt with two great guards is going to have no problem breaking any kind of that press and just running up and down the court and scoring on them. I think this is also a blowout. I think people are going to remember the McNeese from last year, like we talked about before, and think that the same team is walking through that door, but they're not. And I think a lot of people, as a 12-5 matchup, will have this as a classic 12-5 upset ability, and I don't see it at all. I think 12 points is fair. I think I'm on Vanderbilt with the 12, with the 11.5. That's probably looking at Vanderbilt right now. The total at 150 is probably pretty sharp because I don't know if McNeese scores more than like 65 points. I could see, 80 to 65 here. That's a 145. So you're playing around that number of 150. It's kind of sharp. But Vandy covers that. I think that 12-point spread more than anything else in the game to me. I don't know. What do you think? Just seeing them beat your team What do you think about them?
I mean, I think this is the Vandy that started the regular season in non-conference undefeated. Now, this is the Vandy that had a backcourt that was capable of getting far in the tournament once they got there, and they're here now. And I think those two guards are really good. I don't think they're like Wisconsin good. I think that but the things that team does, they hit their free throws, they rebound the ball decently well, they hit the three. Those two guys can hit threes from everywhere. They have bigs that can hit threes. I think that defensively they take they'll take like three or four possessions off, but they'll still be scoring. So they might let McNeese State score a bunch in a few runs, but I think Vanderbilt will never stop scoring, and I think that they're gonna blow them out. This is gonna be an easy game for them.
Yeah, I see. Tanner averages what, like 20 points a game, something like that. Miles averages like 3 steals a game, and I think that's where you're going to get it. They're going to start
defensively. They get inside you.
They're going to start taking. Whoa.
Pause.
Pause. I think Vanderbilt will start taking the ball away from them pretty healthily at some point, where it's going to start inside of you. It's so good. I think McLaughlin can have a good game on the inside there too. I just too much Vanderbilt. I see them, like you said, they're going to be up by 10 to 14 points most of the game, where McNeese might get it to 8, and you might think about it for a second, and then Vandy scores 10 straight points and puts us away. McNeese can't score enough points to keep the game close for me, and I think Vandy's got a lot of ways. This is going to be a really good tune-up game against a very athletic McNeese team that Vandy can kind of get their footing for this tournament, because they're going to need it. I think they could make a run in this tournament. I really do. So I like Vandy to win this game here by 11.5. I think that one's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Tom Izzo portion of the show. Guess who's
February, March Izzo.
Guess who's back again? Tom Izzo brings in another highly ranked team who underachieved in the last few parts of the season here, in my opinion. Didn't look like themselves in some pockets here. But you look at this team and you know that they've got the horses to go. But I don't know if 17 points is too much against North Dakota State team. The Bison have been a good team all year long. Now, step up in competition is massive here. But laying 16.5 points for a defensive first Michigan State team, I don't know what version of Michigan State we get in this game. If we get the one that wants to get out and show you what they got here and put this game to bed early, or if they're going to have to go earn this victory. What do you think?
I think Michigan State wins the game. Do they win by 17? They haven't won a lot of games this year by 17. I think in North Dakota State, they haven't watched a lot of them, but if they can make their threes and they can make some shots, they can stay in it.
Have zero athleticism. If you're
zero athleticism, I think that Michigan State's going to grab every single rebound that there is.
North Dakota State played twice. They got zero athleticism. They are they are Northern Iowa. There's the same.
I think Michigan State, their rebounding is going to overwhelm North Dakota State if they miss the ball a lot. And that's the only way I can see Michigan State kind of like winning by double digits.
I think the first 5 minutes of the game, you're going to know if Michigan State's going to put the belt to them or not. It's going to be like 12-3, and you're going to be like, all right, this is going to get really ugly.
And they're not going to give that up. They're not going to, like, all of a sudden.
They don't give up points.
They don't give up points.
If you're just going to rely on having to shoot threes to get back in the game, and Michigan State's going to defend it, they're not going to give you second chance points. And they're going to slow the tempo down to where Fears
is going to drop kick somebody.
Well, Fears is just – I mean, he's the typical Michigan State point guard for the postseason. It's just exactly what they need.
I was wondering where Draymond got all that stuff from.
Yeah.
That is a Michigan State
trait. Hey, it's a Michigan State trait.
Yeah. I think it was Jay Williams on game day when they were doing the selection show. He was like that, or Fears can just stop kicking people.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Yeah, so we're Michigan State. I don't think I'm going to have any action on this game.
No, I'm not touching this game.
The total's 143. I have no idea
I
what
have no idea.
do. There's too many points here for me to mess with this and care. It's a 4 o'clock game. I'm gonna know by then how my day is going anyway.
Yes, exactly.
And to be fair with you, this game that comes on right after it is going to be very.
That's gonna be a game.
And so let's go to that now. We have the boys from the Big Island coming over to the West region. So not a far trip for them versus these boys from Arkansas. Calipari's got to get these boys on a plane. We're going to see these freshmen and see what they got mixed with these big upperclassmen that they got in the front court. What do you like with Arkansas here?
I like Acuff. I like Acuff. I like Billy Richmond.
Thomas is fantastic.
Thomas.
I love
that.
I love
that
Brazil.
team.
I love Brazil. He's been there for 3 years, 4
Yeah,
years.
Brazil's been there forever. Trevor in Brazil. He's been there forever.
He's a tournament player.
They're not deep, but they are freaking athletic, and they can score. And Acuff can put up 40 or 50.
Hawaii can ball.
He can defend.
Hawaii can ball. Okay, Hawaii can ball. Go ahead and ask UC Irvine, who I love UC Irvine, by the way.
I love UC Irvine. Late night West Coast games. I love those. I'm going to miss those.
That I watched inordinate amount of time falling asleep this year. It's much like Hawaii. I felt kind of icky betting them ever, but they were a constant team, and those two teams fought 1 and 2 all year in the conference in the Big West. And Hawaii just happened to get this game at the end of the year in a late winter to get them into the tournament. I think they're severely underrated as a 13 seed. I think they should have been a 12 or maybe even an 11. I really like the way that Hawaii plays, but when you get them off the island, I don't think it's the same team.
Different team. Always that's been the tradition for that school.
And just in sports in general, it's been like that. Football teams are like that too, because it's a big travel to go out there, man. If you ever been out to Hawaii, it's a hike. I think that Arkansas's team total, whatever that is what's going to be in play for me in this game. And Hawaii's defense is good, but the total in this game is 160. I think that's a lot of points. So Arkansas's team total is at 89 points. I think that goes under. My bet is on Arkansas under. I don't think it's because they don't want to. I think it's because they're not going to need to exhaust that much offense. The problem is the depth. So if this game is anywhere less than 16 points, Calipari's going to keep all these kids in the game.
Yeah, they got nobody. That bench is empty.
And they can't afford to get it back down to 8. Hawaii makes a couple threes, and then it's okay, we got to bring these kids back in with 4 minutes left and close the deal. Especially if Arkansas does their thing in the first half, I think that they can. Hawaii is just going to struggle to score. Arkansas is a top 40 defensive team that a lot of people don't talk about. They can play defense. They just don't. And I think Hawaii might struggle to score points in this game, and I think Arkansas, it just slows down the pace of the game for me. The early part of this game, which, again, this could be a look spot here. Arkansas -9 in the first half could be a very appetizing bet here because I think that Arkansas probably gets on them early and just doesn't really look back. That's my thought. I think Arkansas is just too many horses in the stable. I do think it's a very big. This is the biggest contrast in style, I think, in a game that we're going to see. Hawaii can't turn the ball over because if they do, Arkansas run down their throat and lay up and dunk all over the place.
It won't even be close if that's the case.
That's what I mean. Hawaii can't speed themselves up. They play. I don't know if you can see their tempo anywhere in your notes there or see what their pace is for Hawaii.
For Hawaii, I'm sorry. We just won our first quarter, so I got kind of distracted with that.
Did?
We did, yeah. Nick Clifford just got the assist with 3 minutes left.
Hey, you're welcome.
Great call, Bo. Great call.
That was a cook-up right there we did, huh?
You were like, hey, should we start the stream yet? I'm like, wait a minute, let's get this last first quarter in real quick.
Clifford with the assist, Wemby with how many rebounds did Wemby end up with?
Wemby got it early. Wemby
got his 3 and got out of the way, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, quick. I saw that done quick, and Champagne got the 3 in. Wemby had 3 rebounds.
Just what you need. Not any less than what you needed.
No, sir. So you were asking about the pace.
Green, green, green. All right, let's move on.
Did I lose it? Oh, I lost the page.
We'll do an NBA first quarters one day for you guys. That you guys really want to get down on some stuff where you need to know ball. That's
I'm obsessed with first quarters.
It is a fun ride. I just wanted to see if Hawaii's got any sort of pace thing that's going to help or not help their game against them, because I think Hawaii plays really slow.
They're a defensive team, so it's like they're not thinking about scoring a lot. They're thinking about stopping you from scoring. But Arkansas is
wondering if
not a team you can stop.
If tempo is baked into you getting turnovers and running and scoring, does that count as tempo because you're taking quick shots in the possession? Because Hawaii can turn you over defensively, but I don't think with Acuff you're going to have to worry about that, you know?
No.
The kid's not going to turn the ball over. So I think just for sake of the video, let's move on. But I think Hawaii, I like this game. I think that might be too many points, but I don't know if I'm actually going to get in on that or not. Arkansas for me would be a team total under 89 points would be the only thing I would probably take, or an Arkansas first half -9 if we're going to do anything with the side.
Yeah.
That would be. Do you have anything you'd like in that game?
In the Arkansas game, I'm not really. No.
160 points is the total, by the way.
It's a lot of points, but I think they can get there.
Yeah, by
50.5 is a lot of points, but I think they can get there because I'm a big Arkansas on this, but I also know Hawaii plays really good defense. They do not switch, so they're running man to man the whole game.
Right.
I think it's gonna be tough for them.
Yeah, if the shots aren't
Acuff's not gonna be easy to
right.
You can't guard Acuff. You just can't guard him.
I agree with you.
He's
20 points on you no matter what. That's
yeah.
They said the travel is baked into this by the way, and I don't know that that's true.
I don't think it matters. Not for these two teams. I think Hawaii, it's closer travel for them, but Arkansas, it's like going to Nike. It's like, you know.
Right. I'm not worried about the travel for Arkansas. I think they're probably out there now and they're ready to blow this team out.
They're ready to go. Yeah, that's a pro team. They're not going to school.
Yeah, they don't go to school. Right. Next game.
Carson Beck. I graduated 2 years ago.
I don't go to class, man.
Yeah, how was class? You like how was dealing with class in the national championship? I graduated last year.
I've had a job for 2 years. They pay me.
I got a Lamborghini in the front. Oh, no one steal it.
Yeah. Okay. This game is a highly touted 11-6. Everybody and their mother is on VCU, and so that feels icky to me. But I can't get off of it. But no Caleb Wilson. I don't care anything about North Carolina's anything. Their coach is horrendous, in my opinion. I have no idea. If you don't know who Hubert Davis is, he was a very mediocre Knicks player. But he's also a guy that's coaching a team that's just not. This is not in his wheelhouse to be a college basketball winning coach, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm on VCU on the money line. I don't need I don't care anything about that at all. VCU gets after it on both ends. They are a very efficient offensive team, and defensively they can lock you down. They can guard all positions. They rebound the ball well. They don't give up a ton of points in transition. In fact, none. And North Carolina is going to have to run to score points. If you get in a half-court game with VCU, you have no chance. If you're a North Carolina team, that's my. I think it's the. We were talking about style clash in the last game. This is a real style clash in this game here, and I think the better defensive team is where I'm hanging my hat.
VCU's. This is their game. I think that North Carolina not having Caleb Wilson is a huge factor for them. They're just not the same team. I think that they got some guards that can really play, but they play inside out. Their guards don't control the game. They're not pure point guards. They don't have guys that can move the ball around. They're there to get the ball to Caleb Wilson and open up the shots on the outside. Without Caleb Wilson, that's not who they are anymore. They have a big that can shoot, but he's kind of like an outside shooter with them. He's not a guy that can create his own shot. He's a guy who needs to get open, get in space, and they can't space out if there's nothing in the middle causing the defense to crash down.
Such an uncomfortable matchup for North Carolina.
It's going to be very uncomfortable. I think VCU is going to full court press them. I think they're going to get in their ass and pause. They're just going to really get this game going. They have a lot of momentum on their side. They just won the conference championship in a tough game against an opponent that should be in the tournament as well. And they really, I saw this game as soon as it popped up on the screen, just like a lot of people. That's the game they're going for, and that's VCU is probably one of my better bets of the day.
I agree. So we'll talk about it right at the end and flash through it of what we like best. But I have this as my number 2 bet on my list. VCU money line too. I mean, you take the +2.5 if you think North Carolina.
You're gonna give me points, I'll take it. But that money line is not
right.
fun.
I'll tell you now, and I expect this to come down by game time.
Oh, absolutely.
I expect there to be a lot of action on VCU as people realize that you're not just betting the name on the jersey anymore. North Carolina -2.5 is -115 right now. So you get VCU at +120 on the money line. I guess at -105, I would probably take the 2.5 points right now and just eat the juice on that one to give me the 2.5 points just to be safe. Buzzer beater, something like that happens.
It happens. It's a tournament. Just give me the win. I'll take the points if I can get the win.
153 points tells me North Carolina is going to play their style, and I do not see that.
They are. No.
I could see this game 75-73, like something like that. Something like.
VCU is going to play a tight game. They're not going to win this in a blowout. It's going to be a tight game, but I think they're going to have the lead towards the end of the game, and they're going to be protecting that lead. And Carolina's going to try to make the comeback.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. So I mean, we're both on VCU. We line up on a really good pick there, and then we'll move into the later window just for argument's sake because we weren't able to squeeze it in here. I'll go down to it and just throw it in here. We now know that this will be the next one that fills in that spot. Because we didn't know about the time or not. There's not really much.
It's a good game too.
There's no the Juwan Howard Bison are taking.
I watched all of 10 seconds at the end.
Yep, it was a fantastic game. Game to play. I don't know who wins in a fight, a bison or a wolverine. Wolverine's a tough animal.
Wolverine's a fucking the Wolverine I'm thinking about.
This is going to be a 30-point win. I don't know.
Michigan needs it.
I don't know the height of the Howard players. I think they're just such a problem.
It doesn't matter. They're not going to be bigger than Michigan.
Problem on the interior here that it's just going to get really, really, really bad really quickly. I'm going to probably look at a Howard team total under whatever that is because I just think that the game is probably going to get so lopsided so early that they're going to get frustrated and get out of whatever style of basketball it is they play because they just scored like 80 points. They're not an 80-point scoring team to start with. And they're not – you don't want to try to score with Michigan's the best first-half scoring team in the country. You're not going to try to go out there and do that. Especially coming off of – they're going to get 2 days rest. Michigan just got to watch them play. This is the blowout. Let's just move on from this game. There's no betting edge in this game whatsoever. We don't know a real line at the moment. I can probably tell you that
nothing there. I don't see it. There's
been nothing updated yet. Then we're not even worried about it because there can't be any edge. What in what way does Michigan offer any sort of value besides like potentially taking their foot off the gas and giving up points to backdoor cover?
Yes. And I don't think the coach is going to let them do that.
No, I don't either. But, we've seen stranger things happen. So let's go to very good 10-7 matchup here.
It's one of my favorite games of the day.
We love a 10-7 matchup here. I will open this one up to you. I have a thought on it. I want to see if you align with what I think here. What are you looking at in this game?
Texas A&M is one of those teams at the beginning of the season was like, wow, this team's really good. This team's gonna contend. It's possible that was it Buckyball they play that they press you from all angles. I kind of compare their press to fighting Manny Pacquiao. You're getting hit in all these different directions that you didn't even see. You can go down, have an amazing possession, like Texas can come down and they'll press you off a miss. They'll press you off a make. They'll press you off a free throw. It really doesn't matter what happens on that side of the court offensively. They will press you. They will I think someone was saying this on TV. It might have been Seth Greenberg, not a big fan, but he was saying this on TV the other day, that they will kind of lull you into a 10-0 run just for you to start playing their style of basketball, because then they'll come back on a 15-0 run on you. And that's just the type of mentality that team has, where it's all about the press. St. Mary's wants to play it's a 35-second shot clock. They want to play 34 seconds. Like, they want to slow the game down. They want to play their style of basketball. I think that this is one of my favorite games of the day because these styles are going to clash big time. I think that Texas A&M is not a big scoring team, but they want to press you. They want to speed the game up. They'll play half-court offense, but defensively, they're just attacking and ferocious. I think that St. Mary's hasn't really dealt with anything like that, so it's going to be a shell shock for them in the beginning. It's how they withstand that style of play that will determine how they play the rest of the game. Obviously, I'm going to let my SEC bias come in, and I'm going to bet A&M in this game. But just the way that they go about business, St. Mary's is going to have a tough time adjusting to that. And they could, if they were playing against the Gonzagas that were offensively, that mental was off, but this Gonzaga team is more defense. Not to get into another matchup, but they were more defense than offense this year. So those matchups that St. Mary's had with them, that kind of prepares them for the tournament and the big time matchups, because they don't really get it. San Francisco's not great. Pacific's not great. None of these teams are good in there. Santa Clara was probably a good team coming in that, but that's a 3-team conference. And the games between those 3 teams are great, but you're playing against an A&M team that wants to go full throttle.
Right.
And I think that in a one-game situation, first round matchup, I think A&M comes through and takes that game. And I don't see this being – I think A&M gets that 8-point lead, 9-point lead, and kind of just, sticks with that. And then St. Mary's will hit a couple shots, but I don't think A&M kind of gives up any type of substantial lead in this game.
I am on St. Mary's. Not for the reasons that you said that I actually think they start out shooting well, and I think because A&M relies so much on half court offensive rebounding, which they have the clear advantage on. Okay, so if they're going to miss, they've been this team for the last couple of years. If they miss shots, I think they had a 40% offensive rebound rate at some point in the season. It's ridiculous. These New Zealand kids are not small, though, either. They can bang in there. Now, that's not their style of game. They're more of the European-style basketball player. They want to shoot from the outside. They play really hard. You're going to see a lot of sweaty red faces at the end of this game coming from the St. Mary's team. But I think that the St. Mary's team is more balanced than I thought they were at the beginning of the season. I thought that they were very, very 3-point based, and then watching them play a Gonzaga team that's got Ike inside and has some size, I still saw them go into the basket. I still saw them scoring inside, where I think like this matchup would say, hey, A&M is going to control the paint. So you're giving me 3.5 points. They're going to shrink the game down. We know St. Mary's is typically a defensive school too. So we think, okay, we'll shrink this game down to a really slow pace, and it's going to favor A&M, who's going to get a lot of second chance points. But I think St. Mary's is going to find a way to hit shots from the perimeter, and I think that they can cover this spread. It's not one of my favorite ones on the board, but I saw this, I'm like, SEC. This is just too much talent.
Too much size, too much speed.
Athleticism, it's just right. But something is telling me that St. Mary's, I think they win the game. I think it's going to be a really, really slow tempo in this game. 147 is my bet, though. We're going under. I don't see.
I see it under. Yeah.
I don't see. I mean, it's close.
147.
It's 147.5. But
my goodness, yeah.
I still see both teams scoring 70 points though, which is what's making it kind of tough for me to like. Is this going to be like 74-70, and it's going to like?
I think only one of these teams gets to 70, and the other team gets in the 60s.
I could see that too. I wonder what the first half line is for the under in that, because I think if they start out scoring in this game, it's going to sail over the total.
It's 68.
Yeah, see,
67, 68.
I could see. I could see the 60. What's the St. Mary's? What are they favored by 1.5 in the first half?
3.5. Oh, the first half.
Yeah, first half line. What's the first half line in that
First
game?
half line for St. Mary's is 1.5.
Yes, that I would be more likened to, because I think if this game is going to be close and competitive, they have a better offensive system for me to score in the tournament. But being in the South region, do you know where this game's being played at?
St. Mary's and A&M.
Yeah, that's going to
that is in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, see, so that's a home game for Texas A&M.
Yep.
They already travel well as a school, and St. Mary's is a tiny Christian or Catholic college in California. Yeah, I don't know that they don't have a huge fan base to travel anyway, so I think the home court advantage is there. So I think if St. Mary's is going to do anything in the game, it's going to be early. I have them winning the game. The 3.5 is kind of iffy, but the more I'm looking at it, that 147 just seems too high.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Some of these lines are a little higher than I expected for the way these teams play.
I wonder if Vegas is just setting them that way for people to come back down to them through betting angles, because I think that they're not going to take in a lot. Like, the public money is going to tell you to take over all the time, right?
All the time. That's
what the public does. So if you get a public up there and then a line comes down a couple, and you can get it away from the sharps, which are who are going to take all your money if you're a casino, I don't mind.
I think it's like 142, 143.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. 74-70.
Yeah.
73-68. Something. One team, one or the other. Kind of thing like that. So I'm with you on that one. I think the under would be the play here. But I have St. Mary's advancing, in my opinion. But this is a good coin flip game, very close game. I think good style contrast there. Okay, let's go on to.
Well, no matter what happens, the team's going to lose in the second round.
We're not wrong there.
I just look at the bracket and go, "Oh shit." Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah. Not good for the second round there.
No. You get and Oklahoma City too. Yikes.
You get Houston, right?
Houston.
Yeah, Houston's going to just suffocate one of these two teams offensively.
Houston's in Oklahoma City, and then they're in Houston. Get the fuck out of here.
They're the best team. Well,
freaking 2 seed.
I've felt this way about them for so many years. I'm just going to stop talking about Houston.
I think this is the best offensive team they've had in a long time.
They're ridiculous to me, in my opinion. They're just such a good team.
Flemings is awesome.
Yeah, it's another freshman guard that we need to.
These freshmen are all over the country. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're so good. Okay, let's go on to we got Penn and Illinois. Penn shouldn't be here. We talked about this.
No, but they won me a lot of money getting here.
Yale just took a fat poo-poo all over themselves. I would have loved to see a Yale-Illinois game because they would have been first teamed in 80.
Yale's on my list. I hate them.
Penn has to try to score with Illinois, and they just can't.
Not going to happen.
They have no rebounding ability in this game whatsoever. Zero. I see no point in further discussing this game other than do you think that Illinois gets to 90 points, or do they not care?
Yeah, I think looking at the bracket as a Florida fan,
yeah,
Illinois scares me the most in this bracket.
Okay.
I think that they are such a good team. They have so many shooters. They have so many big guys. But they're not. Their name is Illinois, so they don't get the respect that a Michigan gets or a Michigan State's getting or anything like that. But they're one of the top dogs in that conference. So I think that this is not going to be a fun game for Penn. I think Penn's going to do a lot. I don't think that they're going to be able to compete against, because this is a very European style, European team, Illinois.
Yep.
They got a lot of big guys, 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", that can come out and shoot.
Yeah,
grab rebounds. Stojakovic's kids on the team. Then they have guards that handle the ball and play well. I think the Bruce Weber's got like his best team that he's had in almost more than a decade, and
agreed.
I think they're going to make a run in this tournament.
I agree with you 100%. I think Illinois can make. I got Illinois. Some of the brackets I filled out, I have them in the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I have to talk as like a Florida. And obviously, we talked. I'm a Florida fan. That's the bracket that Florida's in. It's so hard to repeat as a national champion that I just as good as Florida is in my mind and as great. I don't see it kind of. I'm not like sitting here going it's championship or bust because I think there's a lot of parity in the league, and in this bracket alone, you got Houston, you got Illinois.
This is a really
and
tough.
They just crushed us.
This is a really.
I think that Illinois has a chance to if they can beat Houston in that Sweet 16, they have a chance of doing anything. They can make it to the national championship. They can win the whole thing because nobody's going to give them that respect, and they're going to go into every game with a chip on their shoulder, knowing that they have the talent that can put up 90.
Yeah, I mean that's their matchup that's in front of them, right? Let's all be clear here. It's Illinois and Houston. There's a collision course there that I don't see anybody getting off their path and not getting to that game, and you're going to have a big style clash there. But I think what you said with Houston's offense elevating itself so much this year, years past, that's where you can see something real different in that game. Because Illinois, let's not get it twisted, they want to score 90 points on you every night. Their total is set at 86.5. I think that they get there.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those statement games. They come out. I think they win this game like 95-72. Like,
it's gonna be a blowout, huge blowout.
So I'm on that. That's an easy one with Illinois. Let's go to our second 9-8 of the day.
Just go back to that Pencil game. The total is 150.5.
Yeah.
And Penn's team total is 63.5.
Yep.
That's almost 90-point difference.
That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
Illinois' team total is 86.5.
86.5. They're gonna blow. They might get 100.
That's what I'm saying. I'm taking that one. That was my pick for that.
Yeah.
Because Penn's not going to be able to do anything with them, and Illinois is not a team until that last 2 or 3 minutes is going to take their foot off the gas. They're just going to score and score.
They're just score. Oh, you got 3? That's great. Here's a 3 and then 1 and a steal and another bucket. It's like they're gonna put a lot of points out.
That's where Braswell went, didn't he? From Arizona, he went to Illinois. I
think that's where he went. Yeah, he was that or Iowa, but I think he went to Illinois.
I think he went to Illinois.
Yeah.
I pay more attention these days to the front of the jersey and not the back so much, unless you're just like an absolute monster. But
in college, it gets that way unless you got some players that just separate themselves from the jersey.
They're there. All right, St. Louis, Georgia.
Yeah, Oswald.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, he's a floor general, but he can score. With Arizona for a couple of years.
13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
Yeah, he just prototypical college point
80%
guard.
80% free throw shooter.
Your leader, man. Just good job. Good player, man.
Oh, yeah. 47% field goal shoot. I mean, yeah, he's 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Give him the ball, and he's got all those shooters surrounding him. Goodness gracious.
That's what I mean. And he runs. He's trained
Oh, my God. They lead the league in Vitches.
Yeah, they got too many Vitches.
They have so many Vitches.
Where are my Vitches at?
Sons of Vitches.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Mirkovic, Stojakovic, Isevich.
Yuzevich.
That's 4 of the starters.
Okay, let's go to the highest point total on the board, I believe. We got
167 or 169.
1.5. Yeeks. We got Georgia laying 2.5 points, taking on the St. Louis Billikens, who are welcome back to relevancy. St. Louis. It's been a while. I was a kid. They were good. Jamal Mashburn? No, he went to Kentucky. Who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Somebody in that era went to St. Louis back then. That was a really good player, and I can't remember who it is now off the top of my head.
Oh man,
I can't remember. It's going to bother me now.
I'm searching it.
They had Larry
Larry
Hughes.
Hughes, Mike McCall.
Yeah, it was Larry Hughes. Anthony Bonner. Anthony Bonner was a good player too.
Travis Ford.
I want to say it was Larry Hughes because Larry Hughes was nasty back
Yeah.
in.
Rick
And then,
Majerus, rest in peace.
yep, RJ was a beast. Okay. In this game, I think we are on two different sides again, but I'm going to let you go first here, and you tell me why you love SEC basketball so much.
I love SEC basketball. I hate Mike White. I think
I
St.
know you
Louis
do.
wins this game by 10 points.
I know you do.
I think
I
that Mike White has never won a big game in his career. And I don't even
yeah,
think a
it's like
lot technically did that.
the Gators. Oh, Mike White kind of gave him a little
The
stinger for a
man,
few years.
I give him credit. The man quit a day before he was going to get fired and took the Georgia job, which was just like a confusing situation where it was like, no, like, how dare you not get fired? You deserve to get fired. Like, the fact that we weren't able to fire him pisses me off. And the fact that he went to Georgia pisses me off even more. But he's just making Georgia bad. Now, Georgia cannot play a lick of defense.
No, that's why this total is so high because
St.
St. Louis
169.
Louis
St.
is at
Louis is
75.
a team that was on fire to start the season.
They were 23-1 at one point.
23-1. They have our boy, the center. They got our guy, Avila.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He is an unstoppable force
Indiana
when he wants to be.
Legend,
He
Avila.
hit that crazy three in the conference tournament.
Yep.
First of all, that 30-second scenario sequence was the greatest sequence in college basketball this year.
Yep.
It was shot after shot after shot. But he hit that shot, and then I forgot who they're playing. Came down and hit that shot, and it was just the end of the game. The layup, missed it, rebound, tip in, game ended. But St. Louis is a team to be reckoned with. I think that it sucks. I hate that they're a 9 seed because then they got to go against Arizona. No, who are they going against in the second round?
Against Michigan.
Michigan. So yeah, it sucks that they're a 9 seed because this is a team that I probably would have picked to go to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 because just the way they shoot the ball, the way that they got some, just some it factor with that team. But I like them to beat Georgia, no problem. I'm taking the money line. 169 is a lot of points, but I think neither of the team played good defense, so it could get there. But I'm taking the money line. St. Louis money line. Georgia sucks. Mike White sucks. And Edwards ain't coming through those doors.
Hate to hear it. Hate to hear it. I understand where you're coming from, though. I'm on Georgia because I think Georgia's got 5 guys that score in double figures. I think they're going to just score too many points for St. Louis. It's not that I don't think St. Louis probably is a better, well-rounded team. I definitely think they're probably a better team. I think I have a little bias because conference in that part where you're talking about St. Louis is 23-1. That's when I started to pay attention to them financially.
Yes.
And it cost me dearly.
Once they got into conference play, it was not fun.
Yeah, and I mean, George Mason was giving them trouble. George Washington was giving them trouble. It's just that the way that they finished games, I was not very sure about the team that I was sure about 2 weeks before that. And now I don't know what to make of them. Are they the team that I saw for that big part of the season, or are they that team I saw go through the lull there? And the talent gap is not astronomical. Georgia does have good players, and they do play in the SEC. And they are an 8 seed. So I mean, I would say this game is a closer game than what I think on paper it should be, which I think Georgia is probably 5 points better than them. But if you're gonna, I see why St. Louis, why the spread is the way it is, and I think Mike White probably is baked into it. These guys are stupid. The guy, I get it. He's not the coach for this team, but they have enough talent to me that this number is just short, in my opinion. But I also have brackets that I filled out that I took St. Louis in. And not to be contrarian, because I did see enough from St. Louis this year to say that St. Louis can win the game. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I think that Georgia's exponentially better because they play in the SEC and don't play in a mid-major conference, but I do think that Georgia just has the horses to outscore them. I don't know that number is really in play. Georgia's very streaky offensively. That is one thing I could say about them with 100% certainty. If they're making shots, they're going to blow St. Louis out. St. Louis is a very succinct offensive team. I think Avila leads them in scoring, and he only averages like 13 or 14 points a game. So they go and they get efficient shots. But if St. Louis isn't turning the ball over and they play their style of game and they can slow Georgia down a little bit, then I can see St. Louis winning this game. So whoever dictates the pace of this game is going to win this game pretty easily, I think. I think that number is inconsequential. It's whatever side you're on, I think you should take the money line. Well, I mean, if you're on Georgia, take the points. Because it's not going to be a 1-point game is what I'm trying to get at.
No, well, yeah. I think that St. Louis is – I think that this is one of those – I think we had discussion. I'm not sure if it was recorded or not, but teams that have really good non-conference schedule, like not schedule, but record in their non-conference, and then they get into conference play and they start fast, and then towards the end they kind of like get lulled out. Like 4 of their 5 losses are in the last month and a half.
Right.
The only loss they had before that was to Stanford by 1 at a neutral court. They beat Santa Clara. They beat VCU. They beat St. Joe's, but they didn't have Grand Canyon. They didn't have like a crazy schedule where they played a bunch of Power 5 teams. But they have some good wins. They don't play a lot of close games until recent, but that's because they're playing the guys the second time for the third time. And I think that a lot of these teams that have gotten to that lull towards the end of the season with their conference play, they are so excited to see a team that they've never seen before, or they're so excited to see a team that's not in their conference that knows them, that even if they pull something out of their hat, like the other team can respond to it. Right. I think that Georgia is a team that's got a lot of athletes. They're more talented than St. Louis probably is. But I think St. Louis is just a better team. In college basketball, that, in my opinion, that matters more. They play better together. They play better as a whole. I think agree. In tight situations, they come together better than Georgia would in that situation where Georgia's got a couple of guys that can put the ball in the basket. All right, who's going to get the ball? Who's going to, are we going to play together, or are we going to play, try to get the basket and play defense? And then they don't play defense. I think Georgia's one of the worst defenses in the SEC, and that's worse than Bama. And I want this to be more towards St. Louis, but obviously I'm biased. I'm not SEC biased, but I've never liked Georgia, so it's kind of crazy to put it that way. I'm trying to take my emotion out of that team, but they're just as bad as I want them to be when it comes to defense. And I think that defense and team, point guard, situations like that, having a guy you can go to at the end of the game, especially a post-up guy, or that can go out to the three-point line, I think that's going to be the difference maker when it comes to this, because there's not going to be a lot of defense being played. So it's all about who can get the ball in the basket, and then can they create shots in a half-court situation. I think St. Louis is going to be better at that towards the end of the game. I think it's going to be a close game going to the last 5 minutes, and who can separate themselves at that point.
Because of the time that this game is at, it's going to get bet by me because it's either my day
one of the last game
spinning and I need something, or it's going to be really good and I want something to be there. You know what I'm saying? Because and we differ on this game, but the game that's after this, because this isn't really bettable for me too much here. Besides the under, you got Kennesaw State who got hot at the right time. Should not be in this tournament as well. Taking on a Gonzaga team who, as you alluded to before, is not the same offensive team that it was.
Probably the best defensive team they've had, though.
And I think Kennesaw State, playing the way that Kennesaw State played over the last couple of weeks to get into this tournament in the first place, is going to yield to them trying to muck up the game also. Against the Gonzaga team that they know it doesn't play, like you said, that they don't play that style of basketball anymore, at least right now. Mark Few doesn't have them running up and down the court.
No.
And Gonzaga, to me, this spread is let me just go back and look at it here because I think it's pretty substantial.
20.
Yeah. I could see Gonzaga covering that number, but what I can't see happening is the total. getting anywhere near this number.
154. That's a lot of them.
I think that's absolutely insane unless
That's name of the jersey.
unless I'm totally. That's what I mean. They're counting on a 9:45 crowd, 10 o'clock crowd looking at this game and saying, give me Gonzaga minus 20, and that might win money. But if somebody's gonna bet a total to try to, like, you know how it is, late night parlay, you're trying to throw something in there together. 154 is the number. You do not want to be on the top side of that. I don't. What? If you're gonna win 20 and you need Gonzaga to score what? What's their team total at?
Team total for Gonzaga is at 88, 87.
Jalen Suggs ain't walking through that door, brother. You need to let that go. Or even the idea that if you're going to keep the score like that because they have to mess around with the spread, do you think Kennesaw is going to score 70 points or 67 points against them?
This is 80 to like 67, 65.
Right.
EK ain't scoring 30 points in this game either.
I could see Gonzaga scoring 82 and Kennesaw scoring like 58.
Yeah.
And Gonzaga covering the number, but this getting nowhere near that.
Nowhere near the total. Nowhere near.
Yeah, I'm on that same thing as you. That's the only thing I would be possibly interested in about this game. Because 20, again, it just offers too much of a backdoor cover. I was Portland State a couple weeks ago against them plus 26.5 after Portland had already beaten Gonzaga. And Gonzaga went and put the belt to them. But that was for revenge, right? There's no revenge against Kennesaw State. They don't care about this team.
It was all about just winning.
Yeah, which, you know.
Where is Kennesaw State?
Kennesaw State, I think, I want to say it's in, like, North Carolina. Oh, no, it's in Georgia? Is it in Georgia?
The game's in Portland.
No, I know. I mean, it's a home game for Gonzaga. As soon as I saw them in the West
region. The game is at the Moda Center.
I'm like, of course they're in the West region. Well, Kennesaw State was the number 6 seed in Conference USA. Number 6.
Yeah.
They don't belong in this tournament at all. They beat Sam Houston in the final, I think, right? Isn't that who they beat?
Louisiana Tech.
Or they beat La Tech. That's right. They beat Sam.
They beat Sam Houston in the semis and La Tech in the championship.
Right. And what I'm looking at here, if I'm looking at the scores, is Kennesaw State scored 96 against Western Kentucky, and they scored 79 against Sam Houston. So they think that they're going to go and do something similar to that here.
Well, they score against teams that don't play defense.
And
Gonzaga plays defense.
Yeah, but it's true.
They put 81 on Bama. They put there's another game I saw. They put 89 on South Florida.
Who did?
Kennesaw.
Put 89 on South Florida?
They put 89 on South Florida. They lost 108 to 89.
Yeah, that's not happening here.
They lost 92 to 81 to Bama.
That's not happening either.
Like those teams do not play defense like Gonzaga plays defense.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't see any reason to think other than under here. But I probably won't bet this game.
No.
This Georgia game has my attention, but the other one does not. And then we'll go to
depend on how my day goes.
We'll go to one of the last ones. We got to try to squeak in this first day. NC State, Texas. Do we know the winner of this game yet?
Texas is up 5 points right now. I bet them live.
Smart.
You got that 25% bonus. It's 41-36 with 12:40 in the second half.
Yeah, which I think Texas will probably hang on as just being the better team.
They took a 1-point lead at halftime, and now they're up 11-7 in the second half.
So in my brain, I had Texas winning this game and winning the BYU game. I also have Texas beating BYU. I think DeBonsa is great, but I think that's where it stops for them. Like
what's his name from BYU? They're not the same team.
They look like a very incohesive team.
Yeah.
They had so many pockets of the season where they looked like crap.
Yeah.
They remind me of the football team a lot. You keep seeing them ranked week after week, but you don't know that they should be ranked anymore. And they start
unless they got home games. They got a home game, they should be ranked.
Right. This game is not going to be played on a mountaintop, is it? Where are they playing in this game?
BYU is Portland, Oregon.
Okay, so we're not playing at 7,000 feet above
No.
sea level. So,
And they lost Richie Saunders midseason.
I know.
Richie Saunders. That's their guy.
Richie Saunders was actually their best player.
He was their best player.
Sabonsa is obviously the talent, but
he's the most talented. He's going to be number 1, 2, 3 pick in the draft next year. But Richie Saunders was the leader of that team.
Right. So there's obviously no point spread, so nothing for us to talk about there. But I have Texas going through here. Obviously, it's got to be revamped based on who wins this game. If NC State wins, I'm going to look at it a little bit differently and see.
Yeah, it's a 3-point game now.
I like Texas against BYU. I think BYU will probably be favored by 3.5 points. Would be yes, and a total in that game will be somewhere in the one low.
The way these totals are looking, I wouldn't put that game being past like 165.
That's what I mean. I was going to say low 160s, but you might be right there.
Some of these games are just a lot higher than I thought they would be.
And then we'll go to the last one of the night is Idaho against a team that we already talked about being an absolute machine.
Give me Idaho team total under, whatever it is.
I'm on the total 137 under, unless Houston really cares about blowing them out. I see
this is my 3-game parlay.
78 to 53.
Yeah. This is Houston money. This is Houston with the 23.5.
Yep.
Under 136, and Idaho under whatever number they got.
Yep. Where they're not going to give you anything extra for doing that, but you're going to do it.
It's like 10%. They give me nothing. So I might as well just do the team total and the total under.
Yeah, I mean, I would take Houston first half. There's so many ways that I would do. Idaho just not going to be able to score any points. Really simple.
Yeah.
I foreshadowing. I like Houston a lot in this tournament. So that is day one.
Oh.